What is up, y'all? It's AG here. We're back at it again with another movie review. So you can tell from the title, this one is going to be Zootopia 2. This came out pretty recently. I would like to have gotten this one out a little earlier than I have. Um, but it is currently 1 a.m. and I am recording this video, making sure it's going to get out to y'all as soon as possible. So real quick, few changes I'm trying to make is I'm trying to look at all the stats and everything of all my videos. I think 15 minutes and maybe 12 minutes is like the sweet spot for what I'm going for. Sometimes I get to like 20, but we're going to look for 15 and 20 today. So if I'm like running through it, that's probably why. But we will touch on everything that we do need to touch on. All right. I'm trying to think if there's any other announcements. Yeah, so we recently hit 1K views, so I am looking to do another giveaway for that one. That one will be coming shortly. Let me know in the comments if that's something you guys are interested in, because I'm here, to help with the fans. Anything for you guys. But yeah, make sure to check out for my TikTok and my Twitch. I post memes on TikTok, and I have a bunch of other stuff on Twitch. I stream most active on Twitch. And I'm trying to get more type of videos out besides movie reviews for this channel. But as right now, that's kind of what we're getting started for. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So that's going to be the review for Zootopia 2. So just to begin, a general overview of the plot. So Nick and Judy are now partners. And some of us might think like, they were already partners and everything. They had a pretty good relationship in the last movie. But yeah, now it's kind of more like official that they are partners, and that's pretty much the premise for the movie. They become partners, and they are, they encounter some issues where, it might suggest otherwise that they wouldn't be best together as partners, because they are a fox and a bunny, predator and a prey. So it's kind of like yin and yang kind of thing in a way, except it's opposites. So basically, it's more along the lines of like we can prove ourselves as partners, and that's basically, I don't want to spoil it because this will probably be the least spoiler heavy review that I do. But yeah, so basically they want to prove themselves by showing that they could be capable as partners, and that is a pretty big theme in this movie. Definitely gonna touch on that theme, probably gonna be like the heaviest portion of the video. That's just like general overview of the plot. Let's see. Let's go into characters. So for Nick, he is, of course, we know him as like, the sly fox. He is very chill, cool. He makes jokes to, if there's like an issue, he makes a joke to kind of ease the tension. Not really take life too seriously kind of guy. And for his little character arc, I don't want to get too much into it. Probably say that like, very, very often. But his character arc involves like more than why he makes the jokes, and there's like a lot of other media where you see people that make jokes to get through things in their lives, put the humor in it and not take life too seriously, because that's just the way life is. And that is pretty much what Nick's like point of view is. Things are the way they are. Things are the things, and like you can't change them. You really just got to go with the flow, roll with the punches kind of thing, not really like push the status quo. And there is a little arc in this movie where, I'm definitely not going to spoil it because I really do think you guys should watch it. This has been, I believe, one of the top movies in the box office for a reason, so you guys should definitely check it out. But he does have a little arc that involves that kind of thing going on, and it's not like some movies where they take it out of context or like, oh, this is out of character. No, it's very much in character for both him and Judy about what they go through. So next we are gonna do Judy. Judy Hopps, the police officer. She also is the main character in this movie, obviously, as you can tell. But her arc is somewhat the opposite, because obviously, Judy from the first movie, her whole thing was, I'm just a first bunny officer. She is like a mammal. She's very small. She's not like what you think when you think of like a police enforcer. You think of like the chief, like a tiger, a lion. like things like that, like predators and not really like small bunnies. So her whole arc does fit from like the first movie where she's still trying to like prove herself and prove to the people especially and that this partnership can work because as you can tell from the trailer, they do kind of mess it up and they do get in trouble, but it's from Judy's initiative from going to this like big party thrown by these very prestigious characters in the movie and seeing if something else, is going to go wrong and something else is going to go wrong, like go awry, we'll say. And it's from her like intuition, initiative is what kind of sets the plot into motion. Um, but they also go into that deeper in the movie, like midway through, about why she does it. Like this is a really good movie that explains like the why of things, like why Nick is this way, why he acts that way, why Judy feels this way, why she acts this way. So I say that is a very good movie in that regard, where it really hits those key points. Let's see. So actually, you see the snake in the trailer, and that is very like a big main premise. He's like apparently like the first snake in hundreds of years to be in Zootopia, and he is there for a reason. So just to explain his little arc, I feel like it's not really spoiling anything too major, but basically reptiles, mostly snakes, but then reptiles like soon follow of being like outlawed or like banished. Why they are not allowed. As you can see here, you see all the reptiles. The turtle was the door letting them in. As to why they're not allowed in Zootopia. So they have their little hangouts and everything to kind of, live away from all the police and all the higher ups and stuff. Just kind of live like a free life that they're meant to have, that kind of life. And for the snake, his name is actually Gary, I believe. It's like Gerri. D Snake, like DE Snake is his last name, not the snake, it's D Snake. I thought that was pretty clever. But yeah, basically his arc is to prove why reptiles belong in Zootopia again, and they have like, equal rights and all that stuff. Along with, I think I did mention reptiles, so like turtles, lizards, snakes, like basically everybody should belong here, not just for one type of animal, pretty much. And he has a pretty good arc. He is, I want to say, like a stagnant character because he does stay true throughout the whole entire movie. But he does have a good motive, so there's not really many reasons for him to change. But he does learn to trust, and that is a pretty big theme in this movie is trust, because you got the whole thing with Nick and Judy with the partnerships, and then the snake, not really know who to trust because he's a snake coming into this world where everybody looks at him a certain way, type of thing. Let's see. So that pretty much does go into the theme. So the theme is basically how trust is tested in a diverse society and how real progress depends on accountability and empathy in choosing understanding over fear. So that is, just really hits the nail on the head, honestly. Because you see a snake, you're scared. You see in the trailer, the horse, which is the new mayor, he sees the snake, immediately freaks out. Everybody freaks out. And he's looked as the bad guy. Not really trying to spoil it, but you could probably tell, like, he seems like an alright guy. You can tell from the trailer, this guy seems like he's not that bad news. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that kind of thing would be really with the theme. So really push it up on 9 minutes. So yeah, I mean, basically that is like a very brief overview. Really comparing it to the first movie. Okay, so this is a big talking point. I just remembered. I'm not sure if like how I want to like dance around it, but we'll just start by saying there are antagonists in this movie, and typical Zootopia, they might not be who you expect. The villains of the movie might not be who you expect. Basically, I'm just saying there is a twist villain. I'm not going to ruin who it is because I feel like that takes away from it, because it's like a little bit of back and forth. Like, oh, is this guy it or is that guy it? And okay, it is this guy. His motives make sense. And usually what I end on is final thoughts and comparisons. And we're just going to compare it to the first movie. So Mayor Bellwether was the first antagonist of the first movie. She does make an appearance in the movie. I was just thinking real quick, like, should I say it? Should I not say it? But it's just like, she does make an appearance if you are a fan of her. I thought she was a pretty alright villain, like people do complain that she didn't have like too many motives, and I do understand why people would say that. But she does make an appearance. Doesn't really have like a major role or anything, but she does make an appearance. But the whole issue with the first movie was how it was handled. A whole thing with like modern Disney was the twist villains. Like they became obsessed with it. Like in Frozen, with Hans, people said didn't make sense. Mayor Bellwether, people saying doesn't make sense. I'm not gonna spoil anything more than I already have, but I feel like they have fixed the problem. The problem that they had previously, I do believe they fixed it. And I mean, it goes to show with like, the stats and everything, of why this movie has been at the top of the box office. Because I remember, I don't know if I talked about it in any other videos, but I was like, I want to go see Zootopia, but every time I look, it was booked. It was just completely booked. I could not get a seat. And luckily, this was like a 10:30 p.m. showing, I believe, and it was not negative, it was 20 degrees outside. And I was like, I was talking to my girlfriend, like, do you want to go see Zootopia? And she was excited, like, yes, absolutely. So that is how I got to go see it finally. I do usually am more on top of these videos, but that is why, because this movie has been popping. It has been up there. Let's see. I mean, we pretty much touched on everything that I wanted to touch on. I'm trying to think real quick because we are at the 12-minute mark. If anything else I would like to add, we could do just a quick run through. Plot. Basically, Judy and Nick want to prove their partnership to the outside world. Obviously, they have conflicting views on everything, on the world, on life, on themselves, especially. But we do get to see that grow and really come into play there. Let's see, we talked about Nick, Judy, Jerry, which is the snake. I mean, there's not much really to talk about him just because he was in the first movie, but he does play a big part, and you really do learn a lot about him, and of course, history of Zootopia. The writing, the theme, yeah, so basically just about trust, really what's going on. Let's see, yeah, pretty much about trust, and people aren't who they seem. Like I said, I believe they have fixed the problems they had in the first movie. Let's see, final thoughts. Yeah, we already talked about that. We're talking about final thoughts. Yeah, so I mean, I'll probably just begin wrapping up the video. If you might notice, I am using the face cam. I feel like people responded to it well when I was wearing the Foxy onesie. I was thinking about getting some Zootopia ears, but I feel like that might have been a little over the top, so we did not go ahead with that. And it's also 1 a.m. But yeah, just make sure you guys check out the TikTok, Twitch, and of course the YouTube. Stay up to date. Please subscribe, like, comment. I respond to every single comment. I really do love you guys, and I love talking to you guys, and just really trying to build a community here. I do respond to every single comment. But yeah, we might do a giveaway soon. Please comment if that is something you were interested in. But that will be the video. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. We are wrapping it up at 1:11 a.m. Thank you.